Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to Making Waves with Moana Adams. I'm your host, Moana, a teenage girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. Today, we are talking about being a teen business owner and author with Olivia Johnson. She is going to introduce herself and give us a rundown as to who she is and what she does.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Moana, for having me. A little bit about me is that I am 19 years old and I'm a college student at the Savannah College of Art and Design, but I'm also a business owner and I have been for the last 5 years. I'm a professional motocross photographer, so I have the opportunity to travel across the country taking photos of some of the best motocross riders in the world. It's very exhilarating. I love it. And I also recently just published a children's book called The Adventures of Sparkle, but I know we'll get into more about that later, so.
Amazing. So, we are going to ask her tons and tons of questions about the many hats that she wears. But first, segments. Starting out with current obsession, and this is just something about or in your life that you're currently loving. And this week, mine is a book, The Formula by Joshua Robinson and Jonathan Clegg. It is an F1 book, and it is about the marketing and history of F1 and how it's become one of the fastest growing sports in the world. Everybody on the podcast knows that I'm an F1 girl, and I am loving this book. It's so much fun.
That sounds so cool. I think I'm gonna need a link to purchase that because I would love that. I have been obsessed with watching America's Sweethearts on Netflix. It's a documentary about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I just finished it. It was so interesting, and I am someone who is very uncoordinated. I cannot dance, I cannot cheer. So, seeing all of the strength that it takes and how much tenacity you have to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader was so interesting to me.
I've seen everybody posting about that show, like, all week, and I'm like, "Ooh, do I wanna start another new show?" Like, so I might have to watch it.
It's so good, you definitely should.
And then High Tide, and this is a motivational, inspiration, or self-help recommendation. And this week, I actually have a habit, kind of, and it's vision boards and just, like, your reminder to make your fresh vision board because we're already 7 months through 2024, so if you have not done your 6-month reset, it is time. I did mine a couple weeks ago, and I definitely feel like every time I do a vision board, it just gets more and more specific and intentional and just works even better every time. So definitely make sure that you go do your fresh vision boards.
I love that. I need to make a vision board. I actually have never done that, so I might be inspired after this to make a vision board. But I have been loving the podcast Stay True by Maddie Pruitt. She is a great example to young girls in the world and someone that I know I've looked up to a lot growing up and still as an adult. But I just love her message about staying true to yourself even when you're put in tough situations that might try and get you to change who you are, and a lot of peer pressure. So it's always a good message to remember.
I love that. I have not listened to her, so I'll have to go check her out. But let's get into the episode and talk about Olivia. So let's start with what or who inspired you to pursue motorsports photography?
Kind of my dad is a broad way to put it. He rides motocross, but whenever I was growing up, he was also a photographer. So he used to let me play with his cameras and come along on shoots with him as kind of a little third wheel. But it was so much fun, and I've always looked up to him so much. But my family owns a small motocross track in Southwest Virginia, in Abingdon, Virginia specifically, and it's called the Church of Dirt. So my family used to drag me up to the motocross track. I did not want to go. I wanted nothing to do with it. And then at one point, I just fell in love with it. I realized that I loved the sport and it's something I wanted to be a part of. And I begged my parents to get me a dirt bike, and they did. And then the day that they got me that bike, I broke my tibia and tore my ACL. So I quickly realized that riding motocross probably was not for me, but I knew I loved the sport and I was already a lifestyle photographer at that point. I started my first photography business a while before my motocross photography, and it's called Olivia Johnson Photography. I do portraits, senior pictures, weddings, all of the regular photography stuff you would expect. And I thought about combining my two favorite things, which were photography and motocross, and it blossomed into my business that I get to travel for and what I love doing, and it's how I found my passion.
I love that. You sound like me, like being clumsy and just the first day immediately breaking everything and being like, well, we're not going to do that. But I love that you combined both of your passions. So then, what was the process like? What inspired you to go to SCAD, and what was the process like getting into SCAD?
Yes. So, in true college student fashion, I changed my mind a week before I was supposed to start school. And I was actually enrolled at a local community college, and I was planning on pursuing a degree in physical therapy. I wanted to get my doctorate, and that's just what I thought I wanted to do after I wrecked and had to heal from my injury. I went through a lot of physical therapy, and so it was definitely inspiring to see how much that helped me, and I knew that I wanted to help others. But I was already a motocross photographer. I had started my business at that point, and I happened to be at Loretta Lynn's mansion, and there is a national motocross race that happens every year. It is the biggest championship you can go to as an amateur, and I was there as a photographer, and I was working with the next generation of motocross photographers as a mentor, and they were talking to me about what I was going to be doing next for school, and I was telling them physical therapy. But in all reality, I knew what I wanted to do was pursue media and advertising, marketing, photography, all of the things I love. So I gave it a shot and applied to SCAD. It has always been my dream school. I grew up going on vacation to Tybee Island, so we would always drive through Savannah, and I would see the campus and all of the classrooms and how amazing it was. So I gave it a shot. I ended up getting accepted, and I got an achievement honor scholarship and a portfolio scholarship from all of my work I had done. Everything fell into place, and I'm so happy that I'm a student at SCAD, and I have made such amazing connections with my professors and other students. It is a great place to network. I feel like it's one of my biggest takeaways from SCAD.
That's amazing. I love that you changed your mind like right at the end. It makes me think of like kids on Halloween when they like change their costume day up. They're like, "Mom, I don't want to do this anymore." Um,
Literally, it was right at the cutoff, but it was a good decision to make. Part of me still wonders what life would be like if I chose to pursue physical therapy, but I know I'm so happy in the path that I'm taking as SCAD.
and I also think it's really great that you already had past work. As a teenager, you started your business. So when it was time for college, that helped you get your scholarship. And that's a lot about what we talk about on here. So I love that. So you've got motorsports photography, you've got SCAD. Where did the book and writing your book come in?
Yes, so I do pageants. That's actually how me and Moana met. We met at the Miss Georgia Teen USA pageant this year, and it was such an incredible experience. And she was so great the whole weekend, and we definitely became friends there. And after that, but in pageantry, my platform is advocacy for female entrepreneurship, and it's something that I've been pursuing for the last 3 years. And a huge part of my platform is encouraging the next generation of female achievers to define their passion. And I wanted a way to reach the next generation with that message, to educate them on what entrepreneurship looks like in defining their passion. That can be a huge topic to sit down with a group of elementary students. I believe that they are 100% capable, but those are big words that don't really make a whole lot of sense at that level. So I was thinking about my niece and nephew. They are two of my biggest examples in life, and I realized that the way that they learn most things is through reading and literacy. They are so brilliant. So I took them as inspiration and made a children's book to explain entrepreneurship and passion.
That's that's such like a beautiful thing is like to be able to like kidify big topics. I think that a lot of people struggle with that. And I think that writing a kids book is such a good way to like share your platform in a simple way. Who are your role models that kind of inspired you, female role models who are business owners that inspired you to write your book and focus on female entrepreneurship as your platform?
My mom is one of my biggest examples in life. Her and my dad together own a business. So I grew up watching them be entrepreneurs, and I'm so thankful to have been raised in that environment because it definitely gave me the passion and drive to do all the things that I do today. But me and my mom, we are a dynamic duo. We do everything together. So seeing her be such a strong leader, mom, entrepreneur, all of the things that she does has definitely inspired me to do all the things that I do and to pass that on to the next generation like she has to me.
I definitely relate to parents as business owners. All of my parents are entrepreneurs, so I've grown up in the same way. And I can definitely see how, like, that definitely has sparked my want to run my business. So I definitely get that. What can you share a pivotal moment that kind of shaped your journey and made you, want to be ambitious? Because I think it's hard sometimes, especially for teenagers. There's a lot that gets in our way. So, can you share a moment with us that shaped your journey?
Yes, absolutely. So, a couple years ago, it was actually in 2020 and early 2021, a couple things happened that really redirected my life completely. My sister and mom found out that they have a really rare genetic disorder and they almost passed away from blood clots within the same year. So, I almost lost my sister and mom in the same year, and that really just completely shook my world and opened my eyes to what's important. And I think that gave me the drive for a lot of things I do today. It helped me mature very, very quickly. But in that time, I was really, really struggling with social anxiety and PTSD. So I went to therapy, and that was one of the best decisions I made and something that shaped me into who I am today. I did EMDR therapy, is what it's called, and it was really, really great. And through that, I learned that it's so important to seek out mental health when you need it. You can't be strong all the time, and there's such a stigma around it that it's a bad thing or it makes you weak or that you won't be successful because you have mental health issues. But I want to show people that that is not the case. I've been through a lot, still working through some things, but I have made it out on the other side. And there's still so much life to live, and there's so many amazing opportunities that I don't want to miss out on, and I don't want others to miss out on because they're struggling with their mental health.
That's a really crazy, but also, like, of course, very important to you and your growth story. What how has running a business so young impacted your growth? Also, with like these past traumas and things, how has that impacted your personal growth and, like you said, your mindset around, what is important?
Yeah, being a young business owner, it is very hard to be taken serious. I remember I would show up to senior sessions and I was like, I think 15. And so parents would be like, "You're the photographer? Like, that's your work on the website and social media?" I'd be like, "Yep, that's me." So it's hard. You have to be strong. You have to definitely be brave and have a lot of tenacity that people aren't going to take you seriously. And that's really what gave me a lot of drive for my platform, young and female, and especially working in such a male dominated field like the motocross industry. All of those things just showed me that you have to keep going. There's going to be a lot of adversity that you face in life, but there is always brighter things on the other side.
I love that focus on like the brighter things and the positivity. What role does your mental health play in your success?
It plays a lot in my success. I mean, now that I have gone through all of the traumas that I went through and I'm on the other side, I'm healed from them. It has made me so much stronger. And also, the way that I look at success is knowing that I've made an impact in the world. So it's not necessarily just like success as a business owner or success as an author or student. It's knowing that I can share with others what happened to me, what happened to my family, and that there is another side to things.
With all of these things, of course, like working on your platform, your book, you have your business, you're a student, pageantry. How do you maintain balance and keep that, that balance that keeps you mentally healthy and allows you to focus on the positive?
You just have to have really good time management skills, honestly. And one of my favorite things is that being a business owner and being someone who competes in pageants and even being a student is that they all work together. I think a lot of times I've had pageant judges ask me, how do you think that you're going to be able to handle this title with all that you're doing in life? And the truth of the matter is that it goes hand in hand. This isn't something that's made up. It's what I live and breathe and do. I am 100% a business owner, and I love working with the next generation and showing them that they have the possibility to create the life that they've always dreamed of. So they really just fit perfectly together. Definitely have to have a good calendar system, but it all works together and it works out for the good.
I love that. So, pageantry focusing, how do you deal with comparison and competition, especially competing in pageants? It can be a very constant comparison.
It can definitely be a very difficult thing, but what I like to look at with pageantry is bettering myself. Whenever I first started pageants, it was 3 years ago in September, and it was right after I had been diagnosed with social anxiety. So, through that pageant, I was able to better myself and step outside of my comfort zone. Whenever I was younger, I honestly never expected that I would compete in a pageant or be a pageant girl, and it's funny because I'm so invested now, and it's something that I love so much. But when you look at competition, I like to look at myself, knowing that I'm performing better than I did in my last pageant, or that I've been able to make more of an impact with my platform, just to enjoy the experience more each time. So, really, it's a personal growth and development competition versus trying to tear down other girls.
I love that you sound like me. Like when I decided to compete in a pageant, it was specifically like to push myself out of my comfort zone and all of that. So I love that. And we talked about how you define success. So, what waves or impact do you hope to make through your work?
I hope to just brighten the life or day of someone around me, knowing that they have something to look forward to and that they have the potential to do anything they set their mind to through hard work.
So, brightening lives and things, what advice would you give to teenagers interested in pursuing a career in photography, opening a business, going to SCAD, competing in pageantry?
You have to be ready to work, definitely, to accomplish all of those things, but it's so rewarding. Just remember to stay strong. You're going to face a lot of adversity, but you have to be strong. You have to keep going. You are capable. Just remember that, because when you set your mind to it, you can do it if you are willing to give it your all.
Are there any specific resources that you would recommend to them that helped you learn and grow your business?
Yes, so I encourage everyone, if you are looking to pursue a job in photography or even in the motocross industry, to check out the Loretta Lynn's apprentice program. It's through a school called On Track School. It's actually my high school that I graduated from, which is so exciting. But you get thrown into the industry at that race. You get to meet professionals who are doing the same things that you want to do and make connections. And I would just say go for it. Talk to anyone you can who is doing what you want to do. Don't be scared. They will probably love it and take it as such an honor that you want to hear from them what they have to say. But do it, make connections. That is the biggest thing, regardless of if you want to pursue a degree or not. Connections, honestly, in my opinion, will outweigh that.
So, making connections, like you said earlier, talking about social anxiety can be really, really hard and nerve wracking. So, how do you recommend people navigate those challenges and setbacks effectively?
Yeah, I completely understand that. I was so scared my first year as a Loretta Lynn's apprentice. I did this program for 3 years and then I led it on the fourth. So it was definitely something that developed me, but I would just find something to talk about. If there was another photographer there that had a Nikon camera, that's the brand that I use, I'd be like, oh, cool camera. What are you shooting with? Just find some kind of connection, or have a photo ready on your camera and show that to someone and be like, "Hey, can I get your opinion on this picture?" Just be brave. You can do it, and honestly, they're going to love it. And they're going to be really honored that you want to hear what they have to say. I know I am. I mean, I'm not a huge deal, but I know I've been able to work with some other younger photographers, and it always just makes me so happy. Like, wow, they really want to hear what I have to say. They think I have good advice.
So, looking back to when you were one of those young photographers, what is one thing you wish you knew when you started?
That's a really good question. I wish that I would have known that it's okay to not have perfect pictures, which might sound silly, but I stopped myself a lot of times because I'd be like, oh, the light's weird there, or there's some weird shadows, or there's something there that I don't like, but not to hold myself back and not take captive that opportunity to shoot that picture. So I would just say, go for it, shoot as many pictures as you can. And honestly, that applies to everything, not even just photography. Go for as many opportunities as you can. Don't let comparison or the fear of failing stop you.
Yes, you definitely learn the most through failing, so it's okay to fail as long as you try.
Yes, absolutely.
What keeps you motivated? How do you stay motivated and inspired?
Honestly, just the way that I define success by knowing that I make an impact in the world. I want to be successful. I want to touch as many lives as I can, and I want to show others that they are capable. So, just really the knowledge that I have the ability to impact someone else's life makes me keep going. It makes me conscious of what I say and do and how I act.
So, what new challenges are you looking forward to while you're trying to make your impact and make waves?
I'm looking forward to any of the opportunities that come my way. I know, as I said earlier, I wish I would have just gone for some more things. I'm excited to not let the fear of failure or rejection stop me. I want to embrace every moment and make as many connections as possible.
And how do you plan to continue making waves in the future?
Just by being my true self, being happy, showing love, and being that helping hand when someone needs it.
I love that. You definitely helped me out at the pageant. I talked about this in my pageant blog, but I did not know how to do my makeup, and this girl saved me. So let's close it out with any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, that's just what I want to say. I hope that anybody who listens to this finds this useful. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out to Moana or reach out to me, and we will make that happen so I can give you some more advice, or even if you just want to know more about me, I'm happy to share.
Absolutely. And where can we connect? Where can we find you on social media?
I am on Instagram and my username is at Olivia B. Johnson with 3 N's on the Johnson. And you can also find me, my pageant Instagram is at Miss TN International, and that's just shortened to INTL 24. You can reach me on either of those. And if you feel like you want to check out my business, then I would love that. And I'm on Instagram as well, and it's called Stoked Motorsport Media.
Amazing. All of those links will be in the episode notes. And for this week's homework, if you had to start over, what are the first steps you would take, or what can listeners do right now to implement what we discussed?
I would start by continuing to just make some connections and listen to what the previous generation of entrepreneurs or business owners, whatever you're trying to do, has to say. They know a lot, they've been through a lot, they're very wise, even if you don't think they are.
Amazing. So, yes, go network, everybody. So, thank you so much, Olivia, for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a great opportunity.
This was amazing. I love doing interviews so much. They're so much fun. And thank you so much for listening. If you love this podcast and you want to show your support, please leave a rate and review, as well as follow me on social media at the Moana Adams or the podcast at makingwaves.ma. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will talk to you later.